bills pass second reading in the House of Representatives.
I see this bill and this fiscal reform as a good time for Nigerian women.
President Tinubu hails International Finance Corporation's $15 million investment in Lagos Free Zone.
First Lady Oluremi Tinubu champions women empowerment, urges collective progress.
But it's my husband's faith, thinking that women are more responsible, that we take things more seriously. And it didn't start now.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on federal government's intervention in job creation.
Well, Juma, many agree that empowered youth are the catalyst for change. But the reality of youth unemployment in Nigeria makes that hard to believe.
You're right, Victor. And you know, the numbers don't lie. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, more than 33% of Nigerians under 30 are unemployed. Now, that's a staggering figure and honestly is a tough reality, Victor.
Tough reality indeed. This is a country brimming with potential, yet job opportunities are scarce. And when young people can't find work, it doesn't just stall economic growth, it creates social tensions too.
Indeed, and unemployment doesn't just mean empty pockets, it fuels crime, restlessness, and even brain drain. And one big reason for this crisis is the skills gap. Experts say the way out is stronger collaboration between universities, polytechnics, and vocational training centers.
True. But even with the right skills, access to capital remains a major roadblock. And according to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, more than 70% of Nigerian startups don't survive beyond 5 years.
And that's why tackling unemployment needs a multifaceted approach. And to be fair, the current administration seems to know this. They are pushing policies aimed at job creation across both the public and private sectors, Victor.
Absolutely. Juma, President Tinubu has committed to addressing this crisis with structures in place to create 3 million jobs through the 3 Million Technical Talent MTT program. And
there's more. The Labour Employment and Empowerment Program plans to train and equip 2.5 million people every year for the next 4 years. Plus, the National Youth Skills Program aims to give young people the practical skills they need to thrive in an economy like Nigeria.
So, this morning we'll be taking a closer look at these strategies for job creation, how realistic they are and what impact they could have. I am Victor, as we're glad to have you with us this Thursday morning, I beg your pardon. It's Good Morning Nigeria.
You're not awake up till now, Victor. And that's not all, Victor. We shall also be discussing the visit of the Director-General International Labour Organization's visit to Nigeria. I am Jumwe Yusuf. Our newspaper review is coming up right after the news highlights with Mina Daniels. Good morning, Mina.
Good morning.
I hope you're in Thursday, not Wednesday like Victor.
Oh, no. It's a Thursday for me, and I can't wait for tomorrow. You know what it is.
Yeah, thank God it's Friday.
Yes. Good morning to you too, Victor. Here's the news. From a bone of contention to consensus building. That is the story of the 4 tax reform bills of the present administration, which have now scaled second reading at the House of Representatives. A robust debate among lawmakers paved way for the second reading of the bill.
There is an increase in the tax exemption threshold for small businesses with annual turnover of 25 million. So if you are at that level, 25 million to 50 million will be the threshold under which you will be exempted from tax.
When I look at the tax bill itself, sir, it is so state-centric. It gives a lot of more money to states. Federal government reduces its 15% to 10% and give the 5% to states.
If Nigeria, with over 250 million people, has about half of its population as women, I see this bill and this fiscal reform as a good time for Nigerian women.
And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commended the International Finance Cooperation, IFC, for its continued confidence in Nigeria's economy. President Tinubu made the commendation following IFS $50 million equity investment in the Lagos Free Zone, a Tolaram initiative to support the development and expansion of Nigeria's first deep-sea port-based private special economic zone. The president described the investment as a testament to the growing trust of global financial institutions in Nigeria's economic direction under his administration. He emphasized that such strategic partnerships reinforce the country's position as a prime destination for foreign direct investment and industrial growth. The Lagos Free Zone, strategically integrated with the Lekki Deep Sea Port, is designed to ease import and export operations, strengthen Nigeria's role in regional and global value chains, and create a more efficient business environment. And a couple of weeks after President Tinubu's assent to two Regional Development Commission bills covering the Northwest and Southeast meant to bridge development gaps in the regions, the Senate has made some needed legal amendments in the rules guiding the implementation for optimum results.
The funding clauses for the Commission and the fund which were proposed to be established as provided in these bills appear to contradict Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended.
By these various amendments, from the NYC Act to the Northwest Development Act to the Southeast Development Commission Act to the Southwest Development Commission Act, all are now brought into conformity with the Nigerian Constitution.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohamedou Maigari Dingyadi, has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to labour rights, social justice and economic growth. He said this while receiving the Director-General of the International Labour Organization, ILO, Gilbert Humble, in his office.
Reminded of the aspirations articulated in the ILO Centenary Declaration for the Future of Work.
The ILO has been a steadfast ally in our collective efforts to strengthen labor administration.
Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, says recognizing the rewarding the tireless contributions of hard-working women in various sectors has a multiplier effect on national development, as leadership positions held by women serve as not just a representation, but also an inspiration to other women across the country. She said this during a courtesy visit to her office by a delegation from the Directorate of State Security, DSS, led by the Deputy Director-General, Mrs. Afolashade Adekayoja, highlighting the commitment of President Tinubu's administration to women empowerment through their active participation in decision-making at all levels. The First Lady expressed hope that women in leadership would support one another, work collaboratively, and discharge their responsibilities diligently to ensure progress for the nation. She also commended the Department of State Security for striking a gender balance in the appointment of its personnel.
But it's my husband's faith, thinking that women are more responsible, that we take things more seriously. And it didn't start now. And then you make sure that, you give it your best. But, no matter how we believe that our strength is enough, it's the strength of God that really matters.
Thanking President Bola Tinubu and the First Lady for their strong support in advancing the cause of women in the nation, notably the ongoing efforts to place women in key leadership positions. The Deputy Director-General of DSS reaffirms the agency's commitment to protecting the lives of Nigerian citizens and ensuring a secure environment for the nation's continued growth and peaceful governance.
We fight day and night, and that's why, this aspect of Lakura work, we have people going around to having covert operation to make sure that the nation is secure for peaceful governance. So that's the main reason we are here.
And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues in just a moment with Victor and Jume. After now.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, 1 person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, 1 person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary healthcare center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
My champs, they use energy at school.
Your champs need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast.
It has nutrients that support energy release.
They asked me how I came this far. I told them I had to sweat. Sweat is chasing your dreams. Sweat is never giving up. Sweat is action, but can also bring germs. That's why I use Dettol Cool Soap with 5 degrees cooling sensation. Summer heat brings body odor, but Dettol Cool protects you from 99.9% of illness-causing germs and keeps you fresh.
We're live in the open market for Epic 10X Challenge. My people, today now. Today, I will show you how the power of new Epic 10X gives your toilet a better cleaning than bleach.
Than bleach?
Yes, so.
Impossible.
Toilets have stains which bleach cannot clean effectively. But Epic is thicker and sticks better, which gives 10X better cleaning versus bleach and kills germs.
Oh, wow.
You can now see that Epic is better than bleach.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Milo Energy Snacks, snack of future champions.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
Nigeria is perched on the treasure trove of solid minerals. Gold, coal, tantalum, tin, but none is more critical to our future or the world's future like lithium.
Let's talk about illegal mining operations. What is our strategy?
This Saturday, Manchester City.
Now he's in a strange position. Haaland spots that. It's to seal the deal here for Manchester City.
Newcastle United.
Oh, fantastic!
Manchester City versus Newcastle United. Live on Sporty TV.
SportyBet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
Staying with us, and it's time to show you what the papers are saying.
Newspaper reviewer Chukwudi Okolu-Baja is seated in the studio. Good morning, Chooks.
Good morning, Jume. How are you doing today?
Fine.
I'm Victor.
Chukwudi. Good morning.
Mr. Forgetful Victor. Victor has been forgetful this morning.
Oh, well.
Actually, thought today is Wednesday.
Is it not too young to begin to forget?
You mean I forgot to say he's a father?
If it gets to a stage where he's making a call with his phone and still looking for the same phone, then I think
it has happened to me.
It has happened to me several times. You better be careful.
It won't happen
I'm
to
using
me.
the phone as a light and I'm looking for my phone all over the place.
Anyway, let's get let's get into the papers. And I have the New Telegraph for starters. It leads with this story. NLC declares war on telcos, directs boycott of services till month end. Threatens total showdown March 1 if 50% tariff raise not reversed. Says tariff hike execution, betrayal of trust. That's on page 3. NLC All Action. And just above that story, there's a quartet of stories beginning with new... Okay, let's leave that. And reps pass tax reform bills for second reading. Summon Customs CG over officers' refusal to retire. Pages 2 and 9. FG exceeded revenue collection by 120% in 2024, says Wale Edun, page 25. Negotiations on ending Ukraine war to begin immediately after call with Putin. That's credited to President Trump. And the story is on page 5. And above the nameplate, oil, gas sector posts 6.69 trillion naira in revenue amid escalating energy prices. Interesting. And on the black strip, just below that, investment nowhere matches Africa's ROI potential, says Elumelu. That's on page 25. Of course, ROI is return on investment. And at the bottom of the New Telegraph front page, at last, PDP recognizes Ude Okoye as National Secretary. Says party bound by appeal court judgment. Anyanwu, Otum, Sean Ikimi Committee, former governor's lawyer rights committee demands retraction of statement, pages 2 and 5. And finally, FG reviews plans to counter violent extremism, says it's threat to national security. Okay, and then the leadership is next. Crisis brews in PDP over disciplinary committee. That's on page 4 and is the major story here. Above that, tariff. We will shut down telecom operations, Labour warns. And above the nameplate, Tinubu pushes AI tech collaboration with Google. That's on page 23. Beside it, anxiety over Taraba deputy governor's whereabouts. That's on page 20. I think we'll leave it at that. Jumai?
Yes, let's quickly go to the People's Daily. And just below the masthead of the People's Daily, we have Niger government to crash food prices during Ramadan. You find the details on page 5. And the other story Victor has already taken. The picture story you see there, the Deputy General Manager, R&ER, Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, Mohammed Sani Umar, presenting the items to representatives of the Honorable Member representing Toro Federal Constituency, Ismaila Daso, Alhaji Zahardin Ali, while Mr. Ishaya Audu, Assistant General Manager Education of NEDC, and Alhaji Isa Ibrahim of Toro looks on during the NEDC presentation of relief materials to the internally displaced persons in Das, Tafa Balewa, Bogoro Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. And at the bottom plate of the People's Daily and the Black Strip, insecurity, poverty, Speaker wants intervention in Northwest. Details on page 22. And Fintiri ends 120-year-old chieftaincy struggle in Adamawa State. Details on page 4. And Tinubu commends IFC's investment in Lagos Free Zone. Find all the details on page 3. And Anambra Guba Mogalu picks LP forms, vows to unseat Soludo. Details on page 17. And CBN scraps free ATM withdrawals, introduces 100 Naira fee. Want to know all about it? You go to page 18. Mr. Chukudi?
Yes, Jubai. The chairman of Heirs Holdings and United Bank for Africa, UBA, that's Tony Lumelu, is saying that nowhere in the world does investment promise the kind of ROI Africa offers, you know, people who are interested in FDI, you know, and that is quite true. The point is, what are we putting on the ground to make the environment conducive for such investments and all that? Africa will continue to be the bride of the world. Actually, Trump is being told that the USAID action is going to push Africa into the arms of China, Russia more, and at the end of the day, America loses. People are saying that that USAID matter is a way of actually having influence on the people of the world. Trump trades, so he might not look at it from that way. I mean, from that angle. Anyway, we'll shut down telecoms operations. That's NLC talking. They're directing a boycott of services of telecoms till March. How much are we positioned to obey them? Because this is discretional. What choice do we have? Somebody said the other time, I took 2 phones to the United States of America, and they saw me as some kind of absurdity.
Yes.
What are you doing with these
phones?
I said, when one network does not work, I switch on to that. Is that how you guys live?
Yeah.
We don't go beyond one operator, because that operator will be there 24/7 to serve you. I say, may come Nigeria, come. So if they say boycott, how many of us can really boycott? What are the alternatives we have? You know, in terms of data usage, in terms of calling our mother in the village. Maybe Victor would like to enlist some level of witchcraft.
I'll just start with when Chukwudi calls me, I won't pick.
We might go back to writing letters
I
again.
know he's angling for them to stop
we'll go
me
back to
on
writing
this
letters
program.
again.
I know him.
Yeah.
Representatives pass tax reform bills for second reading. why do we war when we need to jojo? Was anything remarkably changed in the tax bills? So what has happened to now pacify the people? We were not consulted properly. You know, you hear so many stories in this
we'll continue
country,
to jojo and mojo. Well,
one of the things I asked at that time, some of the people kicking against it, did they really understand?
Mr. Chukudi,
we'll have to let you go.
We'll have to let you go. We have
so
2 topics
begin
to look
today's
at.
Conversation quite,
okay, I can say that I'm conceding to 2 topics. It's not quite fair, but it's all right.
We'll be fair tomorrow. Good morning.
Hey Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Drive with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas nation ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It powers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
Good morning.
Good morning. Why is your sun shining like this?
Can't you see that Harmattan season is here? We need to protect our children from this dry weather.
What about the invisible germs?
Invisible germs?
During Harmattan, it's not enough to only protect your skin. You also need protection from these invisible germs. To protect our families, we use Dettol.
Harmattan season brings a lot of germs, but Dettol with Germ Defense gives protection from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
The new Harpic sachets. It has a thick formula, so all you need is just 1 sachet for your toilet bowl. It gives 10 times better cleaning and big savings too.
Wow, Helen!
Sparkling clean toilet with Harpic sachet.
They asked me how I came this far. I told them I had to sweat. Sweat is chasing your dreams. Sweat is never giving up. Sweat is action, but can also bring germs. That's why I use Dettol Cool Soap with 5 degrees cooling sensation. Summer heat brings body odor, but Dettol Cool protects you from 99.9% of illness-causing germs and keeps you fresh.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we have more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria, we are Nigeria, strengthening unity. We know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, we are Nigeria. Together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
This Saturday, Bayer Leverkusen. FC Bayern Munich. Watch live Bayer Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich on Sporty TV.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the German Bundesliga.
Welcome to Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis, a TV series dedicated to aging and older persons in Nigeria. Be part of this series and discover the transformative programs crafted to give a new lease of life to our senior citizens, courtesy of the National Senior Citizen Center.
The National Senior Citizen Center is the oasis for the senior citizens.
For thought-provoking discussions on aging, geriatric social care, and issues that matter most to our senior citizens.
Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis.
Tune in to Silver Oasis on the network service of the NTA every Saturday at 10:05 p.m. Silver Oasis, improving the quality of lives of senior citizens.
This Sunday, live on Sporty TV. Juventus.
Vlahovic guarda di là, poi abbassa la testa e conclude sotto l'incrocio.
Inter Milan.
Cross con il mancino, petto di Zalewski.
Juventus versus Inter Milan. Live on Sporty TV.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
The Director-General of the International Labour Organization, ILO, Gilbert Hongo, is in Nigeria on a working visit. He is the first African to hold the esteemed position of ILO Director-General with over 35 years' experience in international development.
During his tenure as ILO Director-General, Hongo has emphasized the need for inclusive labour market reforms, universal social protection, and better working conditions. His vision for a more equitable and sustainable future of work aligns with Nigeria's own development goals. So let me warmly welcome Gilbert Hongo, Director-General of the International Labour Organization, the ILO. Good morning to you and welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Me?
So what brings you to Nigeria?
No, Nigeria is one of the key major member states of the International Labour Organization, and we have a very solid partnership at the national level as well as the involvement of Nigeria in our global agenda. You just mentioned the alignment between Nigeria's own development path and ILO critical priorities. So I'm here to renew, engage the different partners on this partnership.
Okay, the labor union is the voice of the people, and the ILO, we know, is concerned about addressing social justice gaps, And what are these gaps, and how far has ILO gone with the struggle now?
We have to recognize that worldwide we do have a lot of major deficit when you look at it in all dimensions of a social justice. Some particular example where we are focusing on is the growing inequalities, which we know since the 70s, the inequalities between the have and the have not, the 10 or 15% richest, as well as the rest of the population is widening, which is particularly for the workers, and the workers maybe that are at the lower level is a major concern for us in ILO. The lack of social protection is another dimension where we do believe that every household should have a minimum of protection, which quite frankly, we are struggling to have in several countries, including in Africa. We also are focusing on making the supply chains, that are agent of growth, that are agent of wealth creation. We need to encourage the supply chains At the same token, making sure that they are free of child labor, they are free of modern slavery, and in full compliance with ILO labor standards. Those are just a few examples of where we are focusing on.
Where does Nigeria come in all of this? What does the ILO seek in terms of partnership?
So, could you please repeat? The line was a little bit.
I said, what does ILO seek in terms of partnership with Nigeria in all of this?
No, we yesterday, for example, we have very engaging day where we wanted at the national level both the authorities, the government of Nigeria, together with NECA, the employers organization, and the trade union to engage in several discussions and activities with the objective of improving the global social justice, the fight against inequalities, lifting up the living income, the living wage of the lowest part of the population. You know, in the global world, we have 241 million of people that are working more than 40, 50 hours a week, but still cannot pay the bill at the end of the month. And that is of concern.
As the first African DG of the ILO, congratulations on that. And the SDGs is more in Africa than in any other country. And what can be done to accelerate, the implementation of the 2030 agenda for sustainable development in Africa? What will Africa gain from your tenure?
No, I think it's quite important, particularly on this question, particularly this year, 2025, where in July in New York, there will be the review of the SDG 8, which is the balancing between the economic, the employment, and the respect of the environment. So to me, I do think that job creation, particularly for the younger population, taking into account, anticipating, and integrating the change, the technological change, including but not limited to the artificial intelligence, is going to be key. Of course, each country has to analyze its gap analysis in terms of the 2030 agenda. But we have in Africa clearly job creation, social protection, and the infrastructure, including the digital access, the digital infrastructure, where in Africa, of course, we are a little bit behind schedule, and without it, we will be late also in terms of the artificial intelligence.
Now, I'm just wondering, have you been able to meet with the labor leaders in Nigeria? How did the discussion go? And if not, what would be your message to them?
No, yesterday we have several meetings with the Ministry of Labor and Employment, the Ministry of State, the different agencies, labor-related agencies, as well as the social partners, the trade unions, and the employers' organization. Today, inshallah, we shall be meeting with the vice president this morning, and our meeting will continue. But clearly, I do think it's going to be important to continue the engagement through a robust social dialogue in a way that to bring the different parties so that we can together having a consensus on the way forward. And so social dialogue is between the government and the employers and the trade union is one very important dimension that I am pushing for.
So how would you describe your engagement in Nigeria so far, and what is your message to labor leaders in Nigeria?
No, it's the link to what I just said in terms of the contribution to the social dialogue. I think I met a lot yesterday with the labor leaders. They do have their preoccupation, their concerns, and now I think those concerns need to be put on the table and having a genuine discussion with the government. They are finalizing the labor code that has been in review for several years, even before the current regime. So we are really believe time has come to finalize and update the labor code. And obviously, we know that the government has been quite taking measures that are quite political, difficult measure, including the subsidies, in a way to address the economic challenges. And we are for that. I have to say that any government had to take measure to make sure that the economic challenges are being addressed. At the same token, we do believe that that should not happen at the expense of the workers. And we need to see how the economic measures will affect particularly.
We seem to have lost connection with Gilbert Hongbo, but we'd like to wish you all the best in your engagements left in Nigeria and, of course, the best in your tenure. That was Gilbert Hongbo, Director-General, International Labour Organization. This is still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Before we begin our next conversation on the federal government's intervention in job creation, let's listen to this background report by Ibrahim Hamidu.
Like many other developing countries, Nigeria's unemployment crisis has been a persistent challenge, with millions of young people struggling to find work. In response, the current administration has placed employment creation as one of 8 key pillars of its economic transformation. Already, it has launched some initiatives aimed at creating jobs and stimulating economic growth. One of such moves is the Renewed Hope Labor Employment and Empowerment Program, LEAP, aimed at creating more than 2.5 million job opportunities. The program, expected to be fully flagged off early this year by President Bola Tinubu, is leveraging opportunities in digital world and other skills acquisition programs. The Ministry of Labor and Employment is the major driver of this program, with agencies under it like the National Directorate of Employment already keying into the vision. The Directorate has already flagged off a Renewed Hope Job initiative, with about 96,000 expected to benefit from the Skill Acquisition Training and Employment Program. Before now, there were other programs introduced by the federal government, such as the N-Power Youth Empowerment Scheme, Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme, PYES, launched in 2019, and many others. These initiatives demonstrated the federal government's commitment to addressing the unemployment crisis of the country. The question remains, what are those windows of opportunities? What are the differences between current initiatives and those of the past? How sustainable are the new initiatives? And what is the level of inclusivity in the Renewed Hope employment initiatives? What about the subnationals? How are they keying into job creation programs, and how important is collaboration with the private sector in building capacity of the entrepreneurs for sustainability? Guests on Good Morning Nigeria will dig deeper into the federal government job creation plans for unskilled and unemployed Nigerians to provide answers to these questions.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim Hamidu, for that background report. And now joining us in the studio to talk more about it is Silas Agara, Director-General, National Directorate of Employment. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Nigeria. You join us. And also joining us from our Maiduguri studio is Dr. Babagana Mustafa Malambe. He's Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Borno State. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning. Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you once again.
All right, let's begin from the studio here. DG, well, congratulations are in order. I guess this is the first time in this studio since your appointment.
Yeah, very correct.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
How has it been so far?
Yeah, it's very challenging, but surmountable.
Okay. All right, and what are the key strategies, and initiatives that the federal government is putting in place to ensure that there is, at least unemployment takes the back seat and then opportunities are created?
Yeah, thank you very much. When it comes to creating a conducive environment for unemployment or to engage Nigerian youth, when it comes to giving access to the youth in terms of wealth creation, the apex agency of the federal government is the NDE, the National Director-General. It's saddled with the responsibility of creating employment opportunities for our youth, given the mandate of the NDE. And that mandate aligns with some of the thematic areas of the Renew Hope agenda. And so we have been in the forefront of ensuring that we play a key role in that area. Immediately I assumed office in July last year. We had to create some initiative that will give access to our youth by way of creating the Renew Hope Job Initiative, where we are engaging over 93,000 youth nationwide. The program is ongoing, which was flagged off December 6th last year. Hopefully we should be phasing out that first scheme of the project in the first week of March. At that point, we will be able to assess and get the challenges on ground and know the next step to take. But I think fairly we are doing very good, and we'll have to rekindle that hope in our youth to ensure that they have access in terms of job opportunities for the youth.
Yes, indeed. You know, the National Director of Employment has been around since the 80s, and a lot of people have gone through the system, and you know, and they're out there doing government job and all that. So can you tell us what is the most impactful programs, you know, from inception to now, and what are you working on to improve it?
Yeah, the NDA was set up in 1986,
yes.
And by 1987 it became fully operational. Now we have 4 core areas of where we are able to reach out to the youth. The vocational skills department, we have the special public works, and other programs within the value chain of the agricultural sector and the small-scale business entrepreneurship. These 4 areas are the areas I think we have really made impact on the lives of the unemployed out there. A lot of people have gone through the schemes, and a lot of people have, some have very good stories to tell about the schemes. Some have their ups and downs to tell about the schemes. We're more interested in the ups and downs of the schemes so that we can be able to build up going forward, because there's no success story anywhere. Whatever scheme you come out with must have its ups and downs. We shouldn't just focus on the positive aspect of it, but we should look at the negative aspect or the area that have not really made impact. And once we get those kind of stories and those kind of challenges, it's left for the ND to go back to the drawing board and see how we can improve on it going forward. And that's why I just said that in the program that is ongoing, we're more interested in getting to know the challenges going on in the 36 states of the Federation. And that will probably be done at the end of the program, where we can assess the impact of those schemes and be able to build on it going forward.
Okay. What's your understanding of the unemployment situation in Nigeria? Because if you have that, it gives you, an idea, a better idea of how to proceed. What's your understanding? Where are we in terms of unemployment at the moment, and how much do you think that these schemes can take off that market?
Yeah, that understanding, it depends on the willingness of our youth to come up and be able to say, look, I'm unemployed, I'm here. We have what we call the job centers in all the 36 states of the Federation. where we encourage this youth to come out and register and give their details so that we can know the kind of schemes to engage them in. Again, when we came on board last year, those job centers are manual. And now things have changed. Our youth are more digital. No youth will want to leave his village and travel all the way to the state capital to get himself registered, knowing the challenges of the terrain, the cost implication of moving from his village. For some might be over 200 kilometers just to get himself registered and go back to the village. And what we have done is to automate that process last year and to get a portal ongoing so that they can sit in the comfort of their homes and they log in. Let's get to know the numbers of youth, for instance, in Lagos State, that are willing to participate in our programs and their interests, because you can't just float a program and force the particular person to go into this kind of program. No, they have their mindset. They have what they want, where they want to be in the next 5 years, what they should be doing. And the portal is supposed to make available the set skills that we can engage them in. So it's their preference to be able to choose what they want to, what NDE should skill them up in those areas. And the portal is, hopefully it's down now because we want to phase out this program that is ongoing. Then the portal will cover, and that will enable us to know the actual number of youth that is available for a particular program. Going back to the manual, it's not too accurate because I can make myself available today manually and get myself registered, and I can come back in the next 3 months and get myself registered. So you can't be too certain that this is the actual figure or the database that is available that will give you a pointer of where to. But we have a database manually, but it's not a figure that you can work with going forward. Hopefully, when we reopen the portal, it will give us a pointer of the kind of programs to be able to get ongoing in 2025. Mind you, what the youth in Lagos will want to do might be different from what the youth in Kano. Their preference might be different. One, society, environmental, climatic reasons, cultural reasons, and yeah, that's a factor. And there are certain set skills that move. What will actually move in Lagos might not move in Kano because of the demand process of what is required in those areas.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we're looking at a new and rejigged NDE when it comes of
by the grace of God, that is,
okay, let's bring in Dr. Babagana Mustafa Malambe into this conversation. He's our guest joining us from Maiduguri. We know Maiduguri has gone through a lot, from insurgency to flooding, and so much is still going on. So how is the Borno State government keen into the NDE program to bring the various number of youths in Maiduguri on board to be able to learn skill and be productive member of the society? As an engineer, you know all about skill and how important it is for a state like Maiduguri to have skilled manpower to push the economy forward, because we all know, we've seen so many youths out there dishing out so many things, electric cars, gas cars, bicycles and all that. So much is coming out of Maiduguri. So are you keen into the NDE to ensure that it is sustained? Job creation, exactly. How can we create jobs for our teeming youths in Borno?
Background on how Borno State keen into this NDE program, on skill program. I would just like to recall that mainly the job creation is providing job opportunities and at the same time stimulating the economy. So for that purpose, actually, the state government looked at ways of improving on the employment opportunity, job creation. Mainly as government, is you have to provide a very good policy, and then the policy aspect is the state government supposed to bring off policies that will provide more jobs for our people. Under the policy issues, actually the state government, because His Excellency, the Executive Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, because of his opportunity of being Honorable Commissioner RR that time, he went around all the corners and crannies of the state, and then with that, and then he came off with an idea of bringing off the 25-year development plan. And the 25-year development plan, we looked at the 25-year development plan, and then to see most of our people are agrarian, and then at the same time commercial based. So he came off with a development plan. So that was how we came off with a way of ensuring that we improve the living standard, we stimulate the economy in the state and in the country at large. So these are some of the policies the state government brought up. And then on the issue of, I was thinking I would just expand more on that one, but let me just strictly go into the skill aspect. I have an opportunity of handling the vocational training centers, especially the skill aspect in the state government in 2019 to 2023 as the Honorable Commissioner of Science and Technology and at the same time higher education. So for that, actually the state government inherited about 9 destroyed vocational training centers. So out of that, what we did was we carried out survey to analyze, to see the state of the vocational training center destroyed by Boko Haram. After that, and then we also, we did some skill survey to find out where are the gaps, especially in the, as the DJ has already said, there are some skills that will be good in Borno, and others, there are some skills that we also need them in Lagos and other states. So we did some skill survey to find out the favorable skills in Borno State. So with that, we plotted skills in the vocational training center, the rehabilitated vocational training center. Also, the state government introduced what we call the vocational enterprise institution. That vocational enterprise institution, and then we have the vocational enterprise institution in the 3 senatorial district, where that institution, what the state government actually did was, because we already have, because of the cruel activities of Boko Haram, we have a lot of out-of-school children. So the state government in the vocational training center, we try as much as possible to enroll those out-of-school children in the vocational enterprise institution. And we gave them skills, and the skills we gave them are the favorable skills within the state. So we gave them training to ensure that, that we stimulate the economy, and then they've been pushed out based on their training skills. We gave them starter packs. And at the same time, you know, as part of government policy, the development of infrastructure, especially, we know, everybody knows Borno is bordering 3 countries, and then there's a lot of commercial activities in Borno State. So His Excellency went ahead to develop infrastructure, especially road infrastructure, to ensure that there's connectivity, there's access, especially in Baga, Monguno, and then Banki, at the same time Gomorungala, so that the economy will be stimulated by providing access to those people, and at the same time the businesses. Also in revitalizing agriculture. Actually, because 60% of our people are agrarian, and then he did to ensure for the purpose of recovery and resilience, the state government went into mega farms. That mega farms actually also stimulated farmers to go to farm areas that have not been cultivated for many years, have been cultivated, and mainly in agricultural aspect he has done that. And then he has also introduced, because energy, we don't have enough energy, we have been cut off from the national grid, and then because of that he introduced solar pumping machines, where in areas like Mobor, and then at the same time Baga and other areas where we have solar pumping machines to ensure that our people, especially the farmers, go to the farm. So these are some of the actually intervention the executive governor has done because for the purpose of economic recovery and resilience.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Malambe. Let me stay with you. Now, what's your general assessment of the federal government's intervention in the area of job creation? And, you know, you also agreed with the DG that, you know, there are suitability skills that may be suitable in Lagos, but not suitable for the people in Borno. So what are the areas that you have recommended tweaks if any?
Thank you so much. I think the areas that I recommend for skills, we already have done job survey in the state, and then especially because our people, most of our people are agrarian, and then the intervention actually is supposed to come in areas of agriculture, in areas of building, in areas of carpentry and others. I think we already have some of them in our vocational training centers and then in our skill acquisition centers. So I think the federal government, if the federal government can come in and intervene in those areas, I think there was a time we also did some studies together with the NDE here in the state for us to see how we train more of our youths, especially like, for example, there was a time we had a discussion on issue of this cosmetology. You know, what we did was we try as much as possible to see we bring in the local content in our area. Because, like, for example, if the issue of salon and others, our people actually don't do what they do, go to salon and others. So we bring in the henna dressing, we bring in what we call the plating, and at the same time, we brought in the issue of making the traditional scents in those areas, cosmology areas. So I think if the ND can also work with the Ministry of Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation, for us to see for them to see the type of traits we need, especially in Borno State, so that the federal government can intervene. I think there are very many federal government projects that the state government has benefited, especially in providing, stimulating the economy by this cash transfer, and others that has come to the state government. So I think I'd like to request the DG and especially the NBT, for him to see that they work with the Ministry of Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation, so that we provide skills that we require, especially in our local government. Like, for example, you can't in area you cannot go to Dikwa and then teach them how to do POP, because most of the houses we have in those areas we don't need those POPs. So I think mainly we already have done some survey skill studies to see the favorable skills in our areas. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malambe, but I also understand that the POP is good business, and we have a lot of Maiduguri people working in Abuja, building and using the POP, and I think it will be a good development in Maiduguri. Let's return to the studio where Mr. Sales Agara is seated. Let's talk about entrepreneurship skills. You know, he talked about it in Maiduguri, training for skills and then giving them a startup pack. What is the NDE doing to promote entrepreneurship skill and ensure that these people get the starter pack? Because we've had stories of people getting starter packs and sort of selling it and throwing it. These are some of the challenges you're facing, I believe. So how can it be sustained?
Yeah, this I quite agree with you. It's quite discouraging when at the end of a particular program you're able to enable the beneficiaries to start something on their own, and you find them selling those packs. Before I came to ND, of course, that was the trend. And how do we mitigate or reduce that challenge? What we look at was to make the system go online. Let's get the database of all our beneficiaries that will be training a particular program. Let's get we're able to link up with the NIMSI. Fortunately, they were there to support us. And we insisted that, look, for those that will be, ND will be engaging, they must register online. We wouldn't want to be distributing forms to individuals. Come take form and participate in the program. No, they should all register online. Let everybody have access to the program. Let them be able to choose what they want to do. And we got it online. It flowed online for over a month, and it will enable us to, if you want to register online, we'll have your data, we'll have all your data, and that means you cannot participate in another phase of ND program.
Okay.
And that means we got all the programs meshed together float on the same day, training started on the same day, and that means you cannot move from a particular program to another program, because the practice then was, once a particular program is ongoing, Mr. B will be part of it. Once that program phased out, he get the starter pack, he migrate to a different program tomorrow and get trained. So you find that Mr. B is being trained 4 times by ND, unknowing to ND, because ND don't have a way of checking.
Because there's no data.
Because there's no data.
Okay.
Because you just, if you have access to the form, you just fill and you submit and you're called for training. So now, with what we're doing now, once we phase them out in the first week of March, you can't come back to ND this year to be trained. The only way you can come back to ND is for ND to invite you to upscale your program to a different level, like going for a first degree, and we need to go for a master program. So ND will invite you, or you can register to participate in a different upscale program. And that means when you're upscaling your program, there's no starter pack for you, because you're already on the job going. So you just want to enhance your proficiency in that particular set skill. And that is the only way we can reduce the migration of people within the same program. Now, in order to enhance the entrepreneurship, the times have changed, and once you train a market woman or the rural market woman or the agrarian person in a particular set skill, 40,000, 30,000 cannot meet the need. And that was, like you said, is a renew NG, a rejig ND. We had to reduce the number of our trained beneficiaries. It shouldn't be quantity, but it should be quality. So we had to reduce the number of the beneficiaries from, let's assume, from 20 to 5. So within the limited available resources, we can't increase whatever we're giving them as loan package to the beneficiaries. Take, for instance, those who are training in the value chain agricultural sector. In the past, it was 50,000, but now we've tried, with this phase, we're increasing to about 200,000, which I believe is better from where we're coming from. From 2023, it was 200,000, and 2020 it was 50,000, and 2024, we're giving 200,000. It's a step, but we can't go beyond that because of it's a budgetary. We have to look at what funds are available for us to work with. Hopefully, we might do better in 2025, because even the 200,000 agreed might not go anywhere. If she's going to goat herding, and she needs to start the business with, say, 300,000-400,000, but we've been able to meet her somewhere for her to start the business. And all this for us is to reduce the rural-urban migration, because most of the opportunities are more available at the urban centers, and so the migration is from the rural area to the urban centers, and the women are left there at the rural area to cater for the family. And so that's where ND need to step in to enhance their entrepreneurship, to enhance the stability, the comfort.
Are you saying women have more advantage?
Absolutely. From what we're doing now, I will have more programs for youth, we'll have more programs for women.
And girls?
Yeah, girls. The traction now is based on gender issues. And if we can address those issues, it will help the economy in the long run. Because if the woman in the rural area is left to cater for her 2 kids, all she needs to do is just go to the farm and till the soil. There's nothing more for her to do. And those kids are at the mercy of whatever she can bring home. The man is, with due respect, migrated to the urban center to look for greener pasture. So what do? We need to step in and see how we can address those challenges. We might not be able to do all, but if in the community we're able to pick 2-3 women and train them in certain set skills, we believe that we have helped to reduce the problem in that community. We can't do all in a day, but we can't gradually reduce the number. And if the 3-4 we're training in that community do well, it will encourage other women to come in. That is the key we're looking at. And you might want to ask, if we are using portal system, how would they have access to it? Yes, they might have access to it, because some of them in those rural areas have access to 1 or 2 persons that have Android system phone. And
some of them have it.
Some of them have it. Some don't. Some have access to it. So they might be able to register. Where they can't, we encourage them to move to our job centers in NTA offices in all the states of the Federation. And the ND offices have been mandated to help register them on our system.
What is the level of public enlightenment?
I won't say we are 100% good in that, but we are doing very well when it comes to public health, because we have pushed out messages. Like I said, we had just 2-3 want to package that program. And for me, it was a learning curve for me. I just came in and I needed to have a program ongoing for me to learn what it is, floating the program at that level, at that national level. And luckily we have competent manpower. We have manpower in the agency that knows the job. All you just need to do that encouragement, that look, you have our backing, we have your backing, you can do it. And that's just what and this program we've just floated, we're looking at a minimum of 10 per electoral ward nationwide. So that people can have access to it. A minimum of 10, and we had to,
That's a whole lot, which will require a whole lot of funding as well. But it's something we will talk about, down the line. That's we'll get back to you on this. But let's introduce our guest who has just joined us from our Kano studio. And I would like to introduce Ismail Aliu Damaraya, Chairman Strategic Committee for the Revival of 16 Entrepreneurship Institutes. I think he's joined us via Zoom from Kano. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
My pleasure and good morning.
Let me just get you straight into the conversation. What's your assessment of the federal government's initiatives in employment generation, and how have the people of Kano benefited from this? What's the impact from where you stand?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning once again. Generally, if we're talking about entrepreneurship activities in Kano State, the general assessment with regards to the effort of the federal government put in place, I think a lot of efforts are in place, and generally I think there are many other avenues that I feel the federal government needs to improve, especially looking at the population of Kano State. If you quantify the effort per head, you'll be able to realize that federal government need to do more, especially considering the population of Kano people. So I think on this I feel the federal government needs to do more with regards to the effort in creating jobs. Especially we have a large number of youth if you look at the population of Kano State. So I feel while government is doing a lot, but it needs to work off and do more, especially in consideration of the beneficiaries per capita. So this is just my general assessment with regard to job creation in Kano State.
Okay, Ismail Aliu Damaraya, you're the Chairman Strategic Committee for the Revival of 16 Entrepreneurship Institutes, and we know Kano has an entrepreneurship history, just like the Igbos have, where there's job creation, people come and train under somebody, and then they become, owners of business themselves. So how is that, progressing in Kano? Because we know it's a tradition in Kano that you can create job and bring people on board into your business, and most of them have gone out to become multimillionaires. So how can you build on that? Because people say we cannot continue to, depend on the federal government. What are the subnationals doing in that aspect?
Okay, thank you very much. Since the coming of this administration of Alhaji Abubakar Yusuf, efforts were put in place to ensure the revival of this entrepreneurship institute. Initially, most of these institutions were closed by the previous administration, but with the coming of this administration, His Excellency Alhaji Abubakar Yusuf, created and inaugurated this our committee, named it Strategic Committee for the Revival of 16 Entrepreneurship Institute. And basically, the basic role of this committee is to see how these institutes were fully revived and to monitor and supervise the activities of this entrepreneurship institute. And so far, government has done a lot in that aspect, looking at the number of institutes so far revived, and currently a lot of activities were ongoing at this institute. Just take for example, just last 2 days or 3 days, we were able to graduate students from beneficiaries from Kano Informatics Institute and the Kano Driving Institute. We were able to graduate 500 students from these two institutes, and at the same time, induct the second cycle of another 500 student beneficiaries. Last 3 weeks, we were able to graduate beneficiaries from Kano Livestock Institute and Kano Horticultural Institute. Their number is around 450. And of course, the second cycle, we're also now currently undergoing the second cycle of the entrepreneurship training. And we are expecting them to graduate in the next in the next 3-4 weeks. And in addition to that, efforts were in place, to see how we are able to, bring on board other, institutions like the poultry institution. Already their admission is ready. We're just trying to see how we can able to open it. We are targeting like 600 females that will be trained on poultry related, enterprise. And it will take us like 1 month to be able to do that. And then a post-training package will be given to them. And from there, another cycle will come in. So generally in Kano, we are targeting all these 16 institutes to be very fully operational. And our target is, while the process is ongoing, we still recruit another cycle. Now, for example, this 5 institutes I mentioned already, we have exhausted the first cycle. They are in the second cycle, while all other institutions are coming on board to see how we are able to, bring all youth and women into the cycle so that they'll be able to benefit from this activity.
About women, we know the DG talked about some of the complications that women have, like cultural values. In Kano, we know a lot of women stay at home and do a lot of business. So how have you been able to access them so that you can help them?
Talking about women inclusion, basically, as I mentioned earlier on, just for example, for our poultry institute, we are purely targeting 600 women for the first cycle, like of 1 month. After that, we target another cycle, and that will be ongoing and continuous. So also, in our livestock institute, we are also targeting women, particularly on ram and sheep fattening, so that they can be, all this kind of business, they can be able to operate even from their homes. Informatics Institute, female are included in terms of, how they're able to have access to, job creation in this form of institutions. So basically, focus of the state government is generally, inclusive, gender inclusive, where, some institutions were purely targeting, women, so that they will be able to access this. We look at where they have, absolute advantage, where they can be able to benefit more, considering, issues of, norms and what have you. So I think on that we are really on track on how we really intend to, engage all these women in these entrepreneurship activities.
Thank you very much, Maria from Kanu. Let me get back to Borno, to Maiduguri, where we have Dr. Malambe. And I'm just wondering, because if you, preparedness has to meet opportunities to be able to make the most of it. And so I'm going to be asking you how prepared you are in Borno, for instance, to take advantage, to make the most of the opportunities that the federal government will create. Of course, in between, you have to also maybe weigh in, sometimes meet them halfway to get the maximum benefits out of it for your people.
Thank you so much. Before I answer, I think maybe let me also, my sister Jimmy was saying that we don't need, actually we need the POP. I know we have a lot of people from Borno State that are POP designers, and then we also have young innovators here in the state, especially she even mentioned about electric cars. We have people who have excelled, especially even in areas of IT and others in Borno State. And then already the state government is working with the Bank of Industry even to provide some stipends to those people in that area. And then the issue of taking in opportunity. I think Borno State, even in terms of infrastructure, we have enough infrastructure to ensure, to see that we take in opportunity of it, whatever the federal government is bringing as part of skill development. As for us, for the federal government to create more jobs, the state government has renovated all the vocational training centers in the state, and even introduced the vocational enterprise institution. As I mentioned, this vocational enterprise institution, actually we already have even collaboration with the MBTE to see that those who even go through the vocational training institution can even sit for further their education when they sit for NAPTEX and others, to see those who want to follow their education. I think the state government is ever ready, and we have enough infrastructure to see where federal government, actually the DG is here. I would like to provide a request that let him consider the state, because we've actually been affected by Boko Haram, and then many of our youth, especially out of school. Actually, the state government has also raised the bar for out-of-school children to about 700,000 now. Then there's a lot of improvement in terms of out-of-school children. So I think Borno State is ever ready to partner with federal government to see if federal government will bring any other any intervention in terms of that. And then, as my brother in Kano has said, I think Borno State also, we have many youths who resilient youths who are willing to get more skills, who are willing to also contribute their own quota to the economic growth of the country.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Malambe. You just struck something in me, and I'm asking, DG, what's your template for partnerships? I said this earlier, before we left you earlier, I was talking about funding, except, of course, if the federal government, through the NDE, is self-sufficient to fund all of this. What's your template for partnership with states? You've been deputy governor. You will understand also how important this is. What's your template for partnership with private concerns? Because from there you can get funding that you require. And then have you also considered partnership with the Nigerian Correctional Service, for instance, for the training of inmates, because they are big on that, educating inmates so that they become better people by the time they leave the custodial facilities?
Yeah, thank you very much. Collaboration is the best way, is the answer to all these challenges we're going through. For NDLO, we won't be able to come up with that numbers. And what gave us that is 50% of those numbers came from our collaboration partners, those who just had to reach out to be part of the program. We have a firm from Lagos that took up the issue of IT-related skills for us, and run the program 24/7 for all the youth online. And we have a firm again from Abuja that supported. So we had 50% of our participants, our beneficiaries, being taken by those from the private sector. We are working with the subnationals. Unfortunately, I must sympathize with the people of Borno State. The governor had done very well to reach out to the affected communities and those that lost their lives in the last flood. And that really, we had to step back a bit in activating the 10-10 per ward in Borno because of access. People from those remote areas that was hit at that time, coming up to the state capital for training. And we had to just look at some of the areas that were not really affected, and we'll make up for that in the second cycle of the program. But other states we were able to reach out to other states and get them to participate actively. Kano had the highest number, as the gentleman from Kano was saying about the numbers from Kano, but it's still a tip on the iceberg. And we are working with, going forward, we are discussing with TED Fund. We have over 100 skill centers nationwide for training. Just about 86 is fully functional. So we're discussing with TED Fund on how to reactivate and to retool those centers, because the training centers, the tool there are outdated. We are talking about automated system now. So we need that intervention. TED Fund is responding. We are discussing with the MBTI, MBTE, and the collaboration on how to reach out to work with the tertiary institutions, the polytechnics, and other facilities out there. MBT, like you do, is well grounded when it comes to technical issues. We are discussing with MBT. We are discussing with the Patriotic Training Institute in Efron, Warri Delta State. We have gone far in our discussion with them. One of the best institutions we have in the country when it comes to technical skill program. Some of their beneficiaries, like you know, are exported. Globalization is ongoing now. They work here and they provide certain solutions to other countries. So we're discussing with the Patriotic Training Institute.
But you're not discussing with the Nigerian Correctional Service.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
You're coming to that, yes.
So PTI is good. We are again on board with the Ministry of Petroleum through the Office of the Permanent Secretary. We've had a lot of the gas expansion team domiciled in the Permanent Secretary's office. We are working on how to get our youth key into the gas project, which you know federal government is investing a lot in it, and hopefully we should be able to float a program in that aspect to skill our youth, those that have been skilled already, to upgrade their skill, and those that need the technical know-how, how to get into that sector. We have had input with the correctional center. Like you know, that is, again, one major area that we need to address, because when these inmates are coming out, they need to be properly reformed. And we've had one or two correspondents already with the correctional center. What we just need to do is to have that physical meeting and dust the lines. But we are ready. We are fully ready. We have the expertise. We have, like you know, ND staff have been well-grounded, well-trained, and all we just need is the encouragement.
Yes.
All we just need is the training centers to be well-equipped
and functional.
And once these training centers are well-equipped and functional, it makes it much easier even to move our tools from our centers to the correctional centers. For some inmates, it means we need to move them to our centers, train, and take them back to. So these are the things that we need to really sit down and work out with the correctional.
Yes, it's actually a good initiative, and we'll be talking more about that when we return from this break. Don't go away.
My champs, they use energy at school.
Your champs need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast.
It has nutrients that support energy release.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be a patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Well, creativity is so broad. I would say whatever it is that you're creative about, it takes a lot of practice before you become very good. So if it's something you intend to pursue, it's something you have to keep doing. You have to keep practicing. It's not going to be an overnight success, which a lot of people look for. But if it's something you're determined about, but the drawback rather, is that you need what is called staying power. While you're developing your creativity, you need to earn a living. So I know that's where the conflict usually comes in, especially with the hardship in the country and all that. But I think a lot of encouragement from the private sector to create incubator hubs. We've had some of those in tech. We need those across various sectors as well. Incubator hubs where these ideas can come in, be developed, be encouraged, be funded, and then we can expand it from there.
Content creation, while it may sometimes get a bad rap, I think it's actually very important because we have to see ourselves. We have to see ourselves living our lives. We have to show and share our stories. I think that's very important. Now, the job after that is to be able to digitize those stories into something that can provide data and insights, that can ensure that we can be able to support whole-scale industry in these spaces, to ensure that the amount of money that each content creator is getting exceeds what is currently happening for many content creators. The same content creator who lives in Nigeria will be earning less than a content creator who's living in the US or the UK or Japan. And we've got to also bridge that gap because most of that is being driven by the ability of the consumers to pay for those goods, and also the pricing that many of these platforms have. So I think this is not the job for the content creators and the young people. This is a job for people like myself in the ecosystem who can help support the right pricing, to advocate for the right policies, to support economic development for consumers who want to consume that information and that content. And even beyond content creation, we're seeing that many people are stepping in behind the camera. They are producers, editorial, they are graphic designers, they are in technology, but maybe not in front of the camera. And what we want to say is also, we need those people too. We need those stakeholders involved. And the job of many policymakers, DFIs, is to ensure that the strategic investments get there, the collaboration gets there, and we're deliberate in how we're saying we want to support innovation in our continent.
There's an age group where your brain function is at its maximum, and that's the age group we call the youth, isn't it? So we need the youth, the younger generation who have the energy, the imagination to be equipped with the proper education, the proper tools, the proper encouragement, and then take what innovation they bring out and turn it into mainstream developmental ideas. So you find a lot of things that are invented by people in school or straight out of school. We need our patent laws to work so that they can earn a living from their imagination. Once the imagination is just for a one-year festival or an event, then it's not worth it. Somebody creates something, we need to get our patent laws to work, we need to enforce them, and then the private sector can use those patents to develop things and encourage more people to be more creative. Back in the days, yes, you had to be an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor. Today we have programmers, we have AI specialists, we have people that are doing ethics on genetics. Those things didn't exist 50 years ago. So there are new areas that need to be explored. The question really, apart from the parenting, does our educational curriculum cater for what the needs of the world will be in the next generation? Because our curriculum is dealing with the issues of the past. We need the government and the private sector to redo the entire educational curriculum to be forward-focused, not retroactive.
This Sunday, live on Sporty TV. Mallorca versus Las Palmas. Watch live on Sporty TV. Brought to you by SportyBet. Play with champions.
Thanks for being there. This is still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, in case you've just joined us. And we've been discussing the federal government's intervention in the area of job creation. And we have three gentlemen with us on the program. But let me head back now to Kano. Where we have Ismail Damaraya. Kano seems to be doing a lot. Of course, you are directly involved with reviving 16 institutes that deal with entrepreneurship studies. What level are you in, and how soon do you think that these institutions will be ready to partner the federal government, take on the people, and be able to make the most of whatever opportunities that are coming from the center?
Okay, thank you very much. With regards to the state government readiness to partnership with federal government, I think efforts are already in place. Looking at the equipment and facilities hosted in these institutions, and a lot of engagements are now ongoing with the federal government. Not only the federal government, also with the private sector. For example, recently we are partnering with Wema Bank to train some women on hospitality and entrepreneurship businesses. So in general, I would say that effort is in place. And the state is very ready, to partnership with both the federal government and of course the private sector to ensure that these institutions are fully utilized. So basically, based on what is obtainable on ground, we have reached a certain stage, about 85% of readiness of this institution. Some of them have already taken off. Some of them are on the process of taking off. And with this, I feel that the state is very willing and ready to partnership with both the federal and any private institution that's willing to partner and provide this entrepreneurship training for the youth of Kano State.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Babagana Mustafa Balambe is in Maiduguri, and can we talk about the relocation process of the Zulum administration, and how are the youths being brought on board to help in the relocation process and rebuilding these areas that have been destroyed by Boko Haram? In that way, job creation will come on, don't you think?
Well, thank you so much, my sister. I think as I earlier said, mainly the state government is working on economic recovery and resilience. And then in this resilience aspect, there is a lot of program where the state government has engaged, especially the youths, in providing and giving them some stipends to work, especially even the civilian JTF in all the local government areas. Those youths are being stimulated for them as part of job creation, and at the same time, under the UNDP program, there are over 10,000 youths are also employed for them to be doing some small, menial job. And then at the same time, in the federal government, from the federal government, these SME clinics. Recently, His Excellency the Vice President launched the SME clinic here in Borno State, and then thousands of people have been employed. And at the same time, the 3 MTT, the 3 million training under the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, and at the same time, the IDICE issue. And then I think there is a lot of program, even under the Bank of Industry. His Excellency has brought in some clubs and associations, especially the electronics aspect, and at the same time the mechanic, auto mechanics and others. And then there are some disbursement also for youths to see that they have been taken part, they have been giving them skills and then training. And then these are all the state government policy, especially even in agriculture, the revitalization of agriculture, especially in the nooks and crannies. As you are also aware, the Boko Haram are using soft targets, especially those who are not employed in the rural areas. So that was why the state government is doing a lot of projects in agriculture, providing them with agricultural inputs, giving them more lands clearance, and then at the same time providing them with equipment like the solar pumps, so that they go to farm, they do a lot of farming, then so that their minds will not be ideal. So the state government actually has bringing in the youth, especially even within the urban area, where the Ministry of Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation has already profiled young innovators, has already profiled also ICT experts, and at the same time entrepreneurs who are given mentorship to see that they now go into the global village to compute and then get an ounce of living. And then at the same time, in the long-term strategy, the state government has introduced the durable solution, especially for the internet displaced people. And then also the 25-year development plan. When you look at the 25-year development plan, actually we have 5 drivers. The healthy citizen, human capital development actually is the key driver in the 25-year development plan, where it's part of a government policy. Instead of bringing in secondary schools, most of them are now technical schools so that they can be self-employed. All what state government is doing is trying to provide them with skills, even at that secondary school level, so that they can be self-reliant based on the desire of the 25-year development plan. By 2020 to 2030, about 70% of the people of the state will be self-reliant. So these are some of the targets the state government is doing to ensure that youth are being part of the government, are being taken off to reduce the unemployment rate in the state.
Dr. Malambe, thank you very much. Let's get back here in the studio. DG, how, Nigeria is a bit of a complex country. So I'm asking, because of those who will also ask, how widespread are these interventions? When I say widespread, how balanced do you make it so that at the same time you're able to reach people from all parts of the country?
Yeah, thank you. When it comes to how balanced it is, I think with the new approach we are adopting, it's balanced. Because when you say you're taking a particular number per ward, that means you have opened the system to all Nigerians to participate, to key into it. So it depends on the, like what my sister asked me earlier, it depends on the publicity aspect of it. People are aware of it. That is the area that we need to double our efforts so that the publicity can go down very well for people to know that they have equal access. The man in Kano has the same access with the man from Lagos. The person from Maiduguri have the same access with the person from Nasarawa. So I think that access and equitable spread is there, and it's based on the resident. If you're in Abuja, you're a resident of Abuja, so you are qualified to apply from Abuja. If you're a resident in Nasarawa, you are qualified to apply from Nasarawa. So we've made it a bit open and equitable for Nigerians to come in, knowing fully well that our system is more of an informal system, because the informal sector absorbs most of the people that are gainfully employed. The statistics have shown it, because all developing nations rely on the informal sector to rejig their GDP, to revive the system. And Nigeria is not an exception. And so you need agencies like NDE, you need agencies like other agencies that are into skill acquisition, skill training, to be able to sufficiently get on ground to make the system open. And collaboration, like you said, should be the only way that we can't do it alone. ND can't do it alone, and the state government can't do it alone. In short, as a matter of fact, you need the subnationals, because they have more equipped centers, skill centers.
You just have to key into.
Yeah, you need the subnationals, because they have, take for instance, when I visited Nasarawa, and they have very good system when it comes to skill acquisition, automated. You go to Katsina, they have good system automated in Katsina, run by the state government. So you need to partner. Borno have the same, so you need to partner with the subnationals. So you can meet yourself at a point. If I'm training the youth of Borno, for instance, I have my own skill center. Borno state government have their skill center. So we need to partner ourselves and to get, it's for the benefit of the entire youth of those states. And the most important thing is that at the end of the system, they are better off. They are better off, and they're good Nigerians.
And independent at the
Thank
same
you
time.
very much.
Okay, the federal government now has a target of, equipping and training 2.5 million people in the next 4 years. And you just came on board. Where do you see this at the end, in 4 years' time? Where do you see this skill acquisition and equipping of people for job creation in Nigeria? President Tinubu has said it over and over again, taking 100 million people out of poverty, and skill acquisition and job creation is key to that, don't you think?
It's doable. It's achievable. But we can't work independently. ND can be working here. ITF is working there. Small and medium scale working there.
So it's a multi-sectoral approach.
It's doable.
Okay.
And where are we better off than ITF? Where is ITF better off than the ND? A scale of preference should come in. Economies of scale should come in. And ND should concentrate on what we know we can do better than other agencies. Other agencies should concentrate on and I should pull out from other areas that I know I don't have the proficiency or the capacity to equip Nigerians with. It shouldn't be a tea party for all of us. And I think there's need for us to come to a round table and sit down and be able to support this government and support Mr. President. The President has given us a marching order. He has given us the opportunity by way of funding. You have appropriation that is there for you. And I should look at my budget and know what I have in my budget and be able to stay within that track of what I have in my budget. And ITF should be able to stay. And we work together. At the end, we can comfortably tell Nigerians, look, on behalf of these agencies, we have been able to train 10 million Nigerian youth. Not me coming with the different numbers, this agency coming with. It won't help the system. And the Ministry of Humanitarian is there. We should all work together. And in this program, we're working with the Ministry of Humanitarian. We have reached out to the National Technology Incubation Center. We are going to work with them in this coming program that we're doing.
What about Naseni?
Naseni, we're yet to establish that relationship with Naseni. But like you know, you must be able to do, if you're working with humanitarian or technology incubation center, let's get it right before moving to other agencies. And just like we're getting it right with TEDFund, once we have our skill centers sufficiently retooled and equipped, and I can assure you that the numbers you're talking about, we can't overcome that numbers. If we have those centers well equipped, we can do better than that. In most states, we have a minimum of 2-3 skill centers spread in most states. And state government have their own skill centers. So once there's that collaboration, we can do more than those numbers we're talking about.
All right, thank you very much, DG. We are gradually winding down this conversation. Let's get back to Kanu. Okay, we've lost connection with Kanu, so let me go back to Borno, where we have Dr. Malambe. As we gradually wind up this conversation, what's your advice to the federal government regarding its job creation initiatives so that you can make the most of it?
Thank you so much. I think this is my personal opinion, and then we have to be candid. There is need for the federal government to look at the mismatch between the labor market and the industry. And at the same time, there is need for the federal government to provide enabling environment for that purpose. And then the issues of industries. Actually, we will be training people. We will train more and many more people if there is no opportunity for them to be observed. There's need for federal government to provide that enabling environment, industries, and at the same time, incentives, mentorship for the youths so that they can also be productive in the society. And then I will just leave with one thing, and just to inform you that the root causes of the Boko Haram is poverty, and poverty is unemployment. And then when there is in Boko Haram, there is no security. So I think the federal government is supposed to provide enabling environment, mismatch between industry and labor, provide enabling environment for more industries so that these skilled people can be observed, and at the same time, experience. You may be trained, and then you may not have experience. So there's need for us to have industry, there's need for us to have matching between the labor market and then our schools. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Babagana Mustafa Balambe. Let's return to the studio and last step of this conversation. And Mr. Agara is still seated here in the studio. Going forward, what are we looking at? Nigeria has a huge youth population. Our population is very fundamental, and Nigerian youths want to venture out, but the president keeps telling them, if you want to leave Nigeria, get a skill, because that's what matters in the international community and not just certificates. So how can we encourage our youths to, as well as go to school, learn skill at the same time?
Yeah.
In 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, with globalization now, even when you have the skill, you might not even need to jump.
Yes.
And you can stay in the comfort of your room and provide the services that you need to Japan to provide those services there. And with skill, there's market for all the skills today. Once you have skill, people will come looking for you. You set up yourself. You don't need anybody to absorb you. If you want to get into a formal sector, the system is there to absorb you. For instance, you look at when, I won't want to mention names here or the names of those industries, when they were looking for welders, they had to go to India to get over 3,000 welders to come to Nigeria, because we don't have that the capacity of the kind of skill they were looking for. And so that means if we're able to sufficiently upgrade and get the right skill in our welding, those guys will put into those industries and the factories. And I think that I keep saying it, collaboration is the right way to go. Work with other states, subnationals, get our youth skill up, get our youth properly equipped for the market, and help Mr. President to achieve that agenda, because that is one of the key areas of the Renew Hope agenda. And I believe that with what you're doing in NTA, with the advocacy you're embarking on, we can get that done.
All right. Silas Agara, Director-General of the National Directorate of Employment. It's been a pleasure having you on Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you for your time and for your perspectives. Let me also thank our guests from Borno, Dr. Ismail Malambe, Commissioner for...
Babagana Mustafa Malambe.
Yeah, okay, Babagana Mustafa Malambe, I'm taking the other name. Commissioner for Planning, the Budget and Planning. We thank you very much for your contributions on the program.
And also, we also like to thank Ismail Aliu Damaraya, Chairman Strategic Committee for the revival of 16 entrepreneurship institutes. Thank you so much for your contribution to the conversation, and we hope that when next time we meet to talk about it, there'll be good news at the other end. We appreciate you. And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. Thanks so much for your time. I am Jumwe Yosef.
And I am Victor Azo. See you again tomorrow.